What's up, y'all? It's Christine Pelaez, ADHD, bipolar type 1, nurse, and your host of Soul Centered, a mental health podcast about all things taboo, vulnerable, and soul searching. I talk mental health to free us all from capitalism. On today's episode, I want to talk about changing negative thinking. But of course, first, I'd like to welcome you. Good morning from San Francisco. And this is another angle of my bed. This is my cat, Pluto. Boy, he's about 15 years old, so that makes him hella old. A senior citizen. And let's see what I can show you from this angle of my room, of my studio. I think I want to show you this art piece here. It is a bright pink and teal artwork that has the word us, or I interpreted it as also to be US, in a boat that is sinking. I got this a few years ago. I was dating this guy and I really liked this artist, and this piece was reasonably priced. And so I was like, oh wow, this is kind of a perfect piece. Like this guy that I'm dating that I really liked at the time. Our relationship is sinking, and that's us sinking in a sinking ship, you see. And then also the US always feels like it's sinking. Anywho, that's me being negative, but also a realist. So anywho, yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. Updates, yes. I feel like this is I've said this before, I'm sure. I feel like what I'm doing with you is a vlog or blog or what have you, if you're only listening to me audio, and also my podcast. So, okay, updates for today. My mood is really good, and I'll tell you why. I had an appointment with my psych nurse practitioner, my psych NP, and I was telling her that I've been having pretty bad anxiety lately, like to the point of panic attacks. Last time you and I met, it was in my moody, dark hallway, right? Vibey, I call it vibey because at night I have different bulbs, like LED bulbs that, can change colors. And it's pretty cool because it gives me a different vibe, and I feel like it's more artistic in a way. Yeah, because it gives color to it. Anywho, that's why I called it my vibey hallway, nighttime hallway. But when we met then, it was like I was talking about how I'd been struggling, and the struggles were more so, I believe, with sadness, and then new struggles came about with anxiety. And the thing is, I'd never, let me tell you, one of the anxieties that I was having was with driving. Of course, driving can be very anxiety producing, of course. But one of the thoughts I was having was like when I'm on the bridge or a bridge, it's like, oh, what if the bridge collapses? Like that's catastrophic thinking for sure. And not helpful for not helpful for mental health. And so yeah, that's one of the thoughts I was having. And I don't need to get into my thoughts, but so I've been having anxiety lately, and I told my nurse practitioner, my psych nurse practitioner, about my anxieties, and she was like, okay. And so we were talking, and so prior to being diagnosed with bipolar, I was diagnosed with depression, and I was put on an SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which is like the first line for depression and or anxiety. And so I was put on that. I didn't tell you which one. I was put on Lexapro, escitalopram. I was put on Lexapro. And so my nurse practitioner this morning was like, right now your symptoms, your sad symptoms have lessened, and we will attribute that to your increase in Latuda. Latuda is one of the medications I take for my bipolar. And then she goes, to address your anxiety, and she was asking me, like, prior to your bipolar diagnosis, did you have anxiety? And I was like, oh yeah. I definitely had anxiety, not to this extent, not to the extent of like panic attack. Well, yeah, and that's what I said, not to the extent of panic attack. And then, and I told her that I was diagnosed with bipolar. I was diagnosed with depression, but I think I could have very easily been diagnosed with anxiety instead, or in addition to. And she's like, okay, so what do you think about restarting Lexapro? And I was like, let's do it, And of course, in the moment, I was like, man, I have to start another medication. And of course, I have these stigmas about being on so many medications. But of course, I have to remind myself that I have conditions. Like if I had been, like, I need to think of these conditions like you would any other illness, right? It's like if I had been diagnosed with hypertension, of course I would start medication. If I had been diagnosed with diabetes, of course I would start medication. So I am diagnosed with a mental health illness, which just has so much stigma around it, and which is why I have all of these negative thoughts and stigmas around it. Yeah, so we were talking about me starting medications. So she was like, start Lexapro. I was like, let's go, I'm game, right? And so that actually made me really happy. Like I was doing, that actually made me really happy. Like one, I could have some kind of relief from this anxiety, which is new and scary. Anxiety is scary, dude, right? Like I'm willing to bet that a lot of you viewers have, an amount of anxiety, and it's scary. And then especially when you're about to have a panic attack, you feel like there's nothing you can do. You feel so helpless. So that's really scary. So so many things, huh? Anyway, I'm shaming myself a little bit, but it's like my bipolar. Yeah, but anyway. Okay, so it's scary. So some relief would be amazing. And then I was like, I was doing my journaling, I was doing my journaling, and I was like, man, I'm excited actually to start my Lexapro. And so like I had this image that popped up in my mind of like Lexapro being a superhero coming to save the day, And isn't that great? I feel like that's such a nice and reassuring and supporting image to have, to think about. I'm feeling emotional. Happy emotional. To have these nice feelings towards medications. And I think I'm emotional because I've had such negative feelings towards them. We'll sit with it. Let's sit with it. I forgot my sock. My sock's over there. I could go get it. But I also have my t-shirt. Okay. Yeah, it's nice. It's refreshing to have this kind of shift. I wish, this is good. Yeah, and I'm glad that I'm saying it out loud to you guys. Let me fidget with my pen. So, okay, starting medications making me happy. So yeah, that's it. I was very excited to talk to you guys today because I was in such a good mood, and and it's nice to share that, that there can be positivity towards mental illness, if you say it like that. Yeah, because I'm feeling it right now. So there you go. Okay. So those, I believe, are my updates. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to read to you from my memoir. Let's see. Let's go over it. I was like, okay, if I feel inspired, then I'll do it. But change negative thinking. You know what? Let's do it because the chapter that I wanted to read to you is very short, and all of them are very short. My memoir is just short, period. So let me read it to you. This part, this was a very emotional part. Okay, I'll read it to you. So this is from my memoir. It's called Soul Centered. Oh gosh, what is my memoir? The name of my memoir. Okay, let me just open up one of these. So my memoir is called Soul Centered, like the name of my podcast. A nurse's fucked up few months, including a life-changing code blue, a rage attack to get help, and a bipolar hospitalization. So I will read to you chapter 5, March 2024, the insurance trigger. After I review the documents, I will notify you of the determination, is all I remember the disability insurance representative saying. My employer goes through a third party, not through state disability. My theory is they go through a third party to make it harder for us employees. It's fucking garbage. Notify me of the determination? Like, I'll be lucky if someone decides that I am worthy of pay? Fuck you. That implication alone was enough to put me over the edge in my triggered state. I live streamed after that call and made my despair clear for all to see. When someone goes on a leave of absence, they are unwell. If a person is unwell, how easy do you think it is for them to go through all this bullshit? Not to forget, you let them know that, hey, maybe you're not worthy of pay, fuckers. That conversation took place around 9 a.m. Afterward, I lost my shit on live stream. Then, I tried to ground myself by doing art for hours. Until close to 2 p.m. I lost track of all time and responsibilities. Shit, did I take my meds? Fuck, no idea. I couldn't be alone right then. My good friend Joyce texted me after seeing my live stream that if I didn't go to her house, she would pick my ass up. Eternally grateful for her, I decided to pay more than $60 for a ride share to drop me off to the deep East Bay where she lives because I was in no state to drive. As usual, I was running late and wouldn't arrive on time to Joyce's to make my therapy appointment. I tried talking to my therapist in the rideshare, but couldn't since I wasn't in private because the driver was there. When I finally got to Joyce's, I immediately went into the office and got on the call with my therapist. I started sobbing while telling her the reason I was at Joyce's. I couldn't be alone, I couldn't care for myself properly, and I was triggered by the call with the insurance company. My therapist said she was really concerned about me, that seeing her weekly wasn't enough support, and that I should really consider going to the emergency room to be evaluated for admission, especially since the outpatient programs are waitlisted. That's all I needed to hear. It was finally time to go inpatient and get more help. So this goes to show that I was in a manic state, right? I was in a manic state, and mania for me means very easily triggered. And I still do believe all this that I said. That insurance is bullshit. We all know this, right? It's like that goes without saying. It doesn't need support. In any kind of insurance can be fucking bullshit, right? They take your money, and they hope that you don't need them. So there's that. But I wanted to talk about it today in terms of changing negative thinking, because honestly, actually, I'm thinking about it out loud. I don't know if anything would have changed really if I had these tools to help me with negative thinking. I mean, yeah, it could have. So let's go over this is what I wanted to do today, is go over how to change negative thinking and what I have been doing to change negative thinking. So I didn't realize until recently that I have a lot of negative thinking, and just that, right? And then one question that comes up with providers is like, where do you think that came from, right? And I'm realizing that negative thinking as with a lot of behaviors, can be learned. Like, it's a learned behavior. And so the other day, I was at my family home, and my aunt was there. My aunt, who recently immigrated from the Philippines, was there. And she was talking to my dad, and my dad was saying some things. And she said, like, you know what, Kuya? Kuya means older brother or older male family member in Tagalog, the Filipino language. She was like, you know what, Kuya? And she said this in Tagalog, and I can't say it, but she was saying, like, you know what? You're such a negative thinker. You know, like stop doing that kind of thing, right? And then she reiterated it to me also, like, you know, your dad he thinks negatively, like that. And I was like, holy shit, like, it's so true, you know? And then I told my sister, who also thinks negatively, and I was like, dude, this is probably where we learned it from. We learned it from Dad. And she was like, oh yeah, you know what, maybe you're right. And so that was kind of a light bulb moment for me. Like, after all these years, one, no provider has ever really told me that I have negative thinking. And then two, it's like, oh shit, someone pointed it out to my dad, and that's my dad who raised me, you know? It's like, oh shit, I probably learned it from him. So I feel like the stars are aligning in a way for me to tackle this thing, tackle it, start working on it, right? And so I also, you guys might have already heard it, it's been around for a while, the Artist Way. So the Artist Way is a spiritual path to higher creativity, a course in discovering and recovering your creative self. So I started this course, one, because I haven't started work yet and I'm going fucking crazy. Like, okay, that's probably a negative thing to say, but I'm needing to distract myself. And also, what's amazing about this is another realignment towards me and negativity. Like, this is acknowledging that all of us have negativity within us and have an inner critic. Like, yeah, so an inner critic. And so it's like one of the things that you are meant to or told to do in this course is to replace blurts. And so blurts are your negative inner thoughts that come out. So your criticism, so the inner criticisms that come out, and you are to replace them with affirmations, positive thinking, and ways that you're like, no. And why, this is why I like this, and yeah, this is why I like this. It's because it's like you are telling your inner critic you're wrong. I'm gonna get emotional again. I'm gonna get my crying sock. 1 second. So you're telling your inner critic, like, no, you know what, you're wrong. Like, you're wrong, that's not right, and this is right instead. And that feels powerful. Or it is powerful. Clearly, it's bringing me to tears. I think because it's nice, because it's like, okay, give myself a moment. Yeah, so it's nice, right? Like, okay. It's nice to tell your inner bully to be like, you're fucking wrong. Like, you can't say that. And this is why. This is why you're wrong. Very powerful. So I like that. I like that now. I like doing that now. It's like, and I think that's very, very similar to loving kindness. I'm sure you've heard of loving kindness. Loving kindness is another technique where you, instead of being mean to yourself, you treat yourself with loving kindness. And that's it. I think they're very similar. To me, they're kind of like synonymous. Yeah, and that's one thing I've been working on too. Actually, on my phone, did I put my phone here? I didn't. But on my phone, it's an artwork that I did. Oh, I know, I have the artwork here. Let me show you. Yeah, you probably here. So this artwork is a watercolor that I did, and it says, "I give myself tenderness and peace." Yeah, that's so nice, right? Like, oh, tenderness and peace. Who doesn't want that? So I have that on my phone, yeah, to remind myself that I can do that for myself. You know, that I can treat myself with loving kindness, that I can replace my negative thinking and my negative thoughts and my criticisms with positive affirmations, because I deserve that. We all deserve that. Yeah, so those are things that I've been doing, and what's one thing to do. Oh, okay, I don't know if this is related, but I'm gonna just say it. So I feel like when you're, you know, triggered, like having a moment of panic, ooh, panic is severe, right? Hopefully not a moment of panic, but like moments of sadness, moments of anxiety, you know, it's likely, and this is actually what my prior therapist told me, like sadness and like negative thoughts, they all hang out together in the same neighborhood in your mind. So it's important to, one, not make decisions when you're in that state, and two, be aware of that, right? So what I'm saying is, likely when you're having moments of anxiety and sadness, I'm still feeling emotional. That's okay. Trying to relax my body. One thing that I learned recently was half smile. So it's one technique to do to relax your body, and I think also like trying to induce, explicitly they didn't say this, but trying to induce maybe a little bit of happiness. But you relax your you relax your face, or it could be also called the Mona Lisa smile. So you relax your face. Okay, try it, really try it. You relax your face. You release your tongue from the roof of your mouth if it's there. You know, part your teeth a little bit and do a little bit of a smile. And it doesn't have to be a perceptible smile. It can just be enough that you can feel it. And I think the point of it is to promote relaxation. Yeah. And then there's also willing hands. So willing hands, I think is yeah. And then like in my DBT binder, it says like your face communicates with your brain. Honestly though, I think everything communicates with your brain, right? Because your brain is the control center. But anyway, but your hands also communicate with your brain. So what you can do is you can relax your arms and then put them face up. And you know, this actually reminds me of Shavasana. That's the final resting pose in yoga. Yeah, and we all know that yoga has immense benefits, physically and mentally and emotionally. But yeah, this is the final resting pose. It's like your hands are relaxed at your sides, palms faced up. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm not feeling like crying anymore, which is nice. So, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with crying. Yeah, one time, you know, I think a lot of us are raised to believe that crying is not okay. But crying is, and emotions are a way to communicate your feelings, you know? So, they not bad, even though everyone wants to tell you they are. Okay, where we are now? Where are we now? Okay, so let's move on to, yesterday I had, oh yeah, this is a topic, sure. Yesterday I had a session with my creative coach at Nadia D. Alla. And I wanted to talk to her. Actually, it is along the lines of, well, it's along the lines of negative thinking, yeah. So I wanted to talk to her about how, because in my mind, from what I see, she lives a very balanced life, and she's also an activist. And so I'm like, how do you do it? You know, I have been really struggling lately, and I feel like there's just no capacity for me to show up for Gaza. And then she made me realize that overall, okay, this is my takeaway. And she asked me this, like, what is your takeaway from today? My takeaway is that I am already living an activist type of lifestyle, and one of sustainability. And this podcast itself is, I mean, it's huge into activism, right? I am dispelling stigma against mental health, and I am putting myself out in the open to do that. And so, and also, it's like with Gaza, it's like I am, and of course I have been, but like, I have been boycotting McDonald's and Starbucks because they are huge supporters of Israel. So yeah, it's like I am already living this lifestyle of activism, you know, and I need to give myself credit for that. And it's true. It's like I feel like a lot of times when we want to do something, we compare with other people who are doing more, you know, and we beat ourselves up about it. And so yeah, it was really nice to kind of shift my mindset and to remind myself of all the good that I am doing, you know, and that I shop small, you know, and totally, I am a sustainable clothing shopper for sure. Definitely, I do not support Shein. I think, to be honest, like, okay, yeah, we're getting into activism here, but if something is so cheap, there is a human suffering, period. If something is so cheap, and this is why, you know, you try not to buy fast fashion like H&M or like Forever 21 when it's cheap, because there is somebody in a sweatshop who is suffering so that you can have something cheap. Temu, you think of the Urgers, I don't know how to pronounce, but yeah. Anyway, so these are facts, okay? These are facts. Like people, and I understand that life is hard and that money is hard to come by, but that's the thing. It's like we don't have to consume that much. We don't need to have new clothes all the time. Like my clothes are hella fucking old. Yeah, aside from the t-shirts that I buy. But now I'm at saturation of clothes, but, and then I also buy on, if anything, I buy, not clothes, but I buy things on Mercari, so recycled clothes, right? Or vintage, yeah, so, anyway, that helped me a lot. And then accepting what you can do, you know what I mean? Like in terms of activism, or in terms of like, you know, doing good or something, is like, what can you do today? And what you can do is enough. Yeah. but then your life to life. And then also see, oh, this actually goes back. Well, this is what we're talking about. But like, I think about, oh man, the anxiety, the overthinking about like, I'm just thinking about waste and how we're not doing enough and how humans create so much waste. And yeah, woo, that was and then my therapist was like, Christine, you cannot change that. You cannot change what the whole world is doing. You know, you are a drop of water, and what you can do and what you're hoping other people and other activists will do will all pull together and create change. And so it's like, okay, yeah, that's true. It's like I can't change the world. I am only one person, right? So yeah, that's one thing I'm working on. Yeah, accepting what I can do. Oh, and and another thing that Nadia said, it's like I'm having so much grief or so much pain over overthinking about the things that I can't do. That is gonna take away from my joy and from my living now. This is from Nadia, okay? These ideas. And Nadia was like, the oppressors are already dehumanizing us by making us work till we break in so many other ways. So it's like, and this is what also the rest is resistance says, you know, it's like you have to live. You have to live, and you have to have your joy, because that is the way to say fuck you to the oppressors, you know, and also rest. And I'll say it again, you know, hustle culture is about work, about gaining the coin, but it's like, at what cost? Your mental health. So, and it's also about working. They will fucking work you. And then you know what? It's so true. It's like companies will make you think that you're the problem. Oh, did you do this? Oh, did you do that? Like, oh, you have to, in order to be fair, you have to take so many patients in a day. It's like, at what cost? My mental fucking health? Fuck you. Like, that's what I thought. I was thinking of an example of how they will make you feel like you're wrong. It's like, for your bottom line, like, and then I'll end up here and what? Not working. So really, who loses? You lose. Because I'm not working and I'm not giving my fucking gifts. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, this is why I, Christine Pelaez, talk mental health to free us all from capitalism. I feel like that's it for today. Let's try to end on a positive note, that you're worthy of happiness. You're worthy. This kind of makes me emotional when I'm like saying nice things. When I say nice things, I cry. No, that's not true. And I think because I'm also kind of telling this to myself, it's like we are worthy of happiness, we are worthy of peace, and good if it takes medications to help us. You know what I mean? We don't have to suffer. I tell that to my patients all the time when they're in pain and they're worried about getting addicted to pain meds. I'm like, you're in pain right now. Let me help you. Yeah, and you get addicted when you overuse, you know. I feel like that's what happens on the streets. It's like, you know what, it's probably that there's not pain there anymore. It's like you take it for the euphoria. So anyway, you're deserving of peace and joy, and let the medications help if you need it. Yeah, let's end there. Okay, I'll see you next time.